Hello and welcome to Radiance Revealed, the podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Jen Haley. I'm a board-certified dermatologist, fitness enthusiast, nutrition expert, and global explorer that over the years has uncovered that your skin is a true representation of your internal health. Each week, we will chat with leading health, wellness, and even spiritual experts who will reveal secrets to true health and vitality. My goal is to help you change small habits to give you the power to create a more balanced, aligned, and elevated version of yourself. Now let's dive in. Okay, so this week on the podcast, I have Francois from GliSODin Skin. And I appreciate you coming on the podcast. All of my listeners know that I rarely bring brands on. I definitely don't do advertisements or anything where there's an ulterior motive. I only have people on the podcast, products that I use. And this product, GliSODin Skin, it's a daily supplement because we know that our skin represents our internal health. So we're not limited to just creams that we apply on the outside of our skin. What really matters is how we're treating our body from the inside out. And that's how supplements can come into play. And there's a unique technology, which is why I asked Francois, all the way from Paris today, to join me on the podcast to share with you why this product from GliSODin Skin Nutrients is unique. So I'll leave it with that, Francois.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Haley. Thank you, Jen. So yes, the whole GliSODin adventure started over 20 years ago in Paris, and it was started by two immunologists. So our background is always medical and scientific, and they developed a bioavailable form of an enzyme called SuperOxide Dismutase. And it's a critical enzyme to protect your cells. Let it put it this way. And when it was initially discovered by two American scientists in 1968, it was called the enzyme of life. Why? Because basically, and I'll get back to that because I'm sure that will be, it's a very interesting story, but any species that consumes oxygen has to protect itself against toxicity of oxygen, and SOD does that, among other enzymes. So that was our starting point in France 20 years ago, and we come from the world of AIDS research. So one of our great mentor at the very beginning of the adventure, of the GliSODin adventure, was Professor Luc Montagnier. Professor Luc Montagnier is the 2008 recipient of the Nobel Prize of Medicine for the discovery of the AIDS virus. And he was very interested in natural health products because he believed that was a very effective way to offset damages done by the AIDS virus. Which chemotherapy couldn't do. So he was very early in the game. He was very supportive, and that's really how we started the company. I met those three French immunologists, and we partnered, the three of us, and we started Isocell. So that was over 20 years ago, with a vision really to try to improve the quality of life and of people and patient energy level and reduced inflammation. And we didn't start in skin, but I'll go back to at the beginning. We didn't have skin in mind, although my past experience before Isocell was really in dermatology, skincare, because I worked 12 years at L'Oreal and 5 years at Neutrogena, Johnson & Johnson. So I had a lot of experience, but at first we didn't see the immediate application, skin as an immediate application. It only came later.
Really? Oh, okay. So that's so fascinating to me. So as we were talking offline before we started recording, I was telling you that I first discovered your products around 9 years ago. And it's always hard to tell if a product is making a difference in the skin because, we're talking we're aging every day. So how can we tell if something's, really making a difference? I notice because when I stop it, my skin just has a less of a glow, less supple. There's less of a bounce and a kind of a luminosity to it. I can't explain, but I know my skin well enough for after all these years. But I'm so fascinated about your journey, and I'd like to dive into that a little bit more regarding how you came to find that the superoxide dismutase, as well as how you made it bioavailable, because we know that that's a very difficult thing. How you noticed it made a difference in the skin, because that's my background. So my background is in nutrition, and I studied nutrition undergrad, and then I went to medical school where I was taught that food didn't play a role in the skin. And it didn't make sense to me because I said, okay, we take medicine in our mouth, but food doesn't have any effect, but medicine does, and they're both consumed. So I'm always fascinated by the world of using natural substances, whether it's supplements or food or both, in order to enhance our health. And if our health is enhanced, it's going to show in our skin because the skin is an organ, just like all of the other organs. So if it's not healthy, chances are inside there's a lot of inflammation and other things going on. So, what got you to the point of realizing that this benefited the skin? Please share the journey a little bit.
Yeah, so it's really started when it was first discovered. So SOD, that enzyme, is very well documented. There are probably over 10,000 scientific and clinical studies, but it was mostly in its injectable form. So originally, SOD, that was derived from beef, from beef liver, was injected on directly on the inflammation area, and very successful and very had great healing properties. But when we had the mad cow disease in Europe, obviously we couldn't use any ingredients made from beef or derived from beef. So we had to switch to a natural source or botanical source. But a botanical source cannot be injected because it is too different. It is too heterologous to be injected. So it had to be taken orally and go through the digestive tract. The problem is SOD is a very, very small molecule, and it's destroyed by the acidity of the stomach. So it's only when those two immunologists managed to build a coating, a protective coating around SOD, using a fraction of gluten, a fraction of wheat, and I'll get back to the gluten issue because it's not really an issue, but it's there, and that it's called gliadin, and the gliadin will protect the activity, the SOD activity, when it gets into the stomach, and then it will target the upper level of the intestine, where we have 70% of our immunocompetent cells. So that's when the contact will happen, and the SOD will be able to prime our own internal antioxidant system.
Okay.
So that's basically the biology. And why is it so important? Why is SOD so important? Because when you breathe oxygen, oxygen is the source of energy for your cells. But in the process of consuming oxygen, there are 2 to 3% of those oxygen molecules that are not properly burned. And they give birth to what free radicals that are called oxygen reactive species. And they are the most toxic free radicals. They are even more toxic as sun radiation. And I'm sure your audience is very familiar with sun radiation and the importance of protecting your skin from sun rays and sun radiation,
Pollution is another. Yeah.
pollution, and so on. So, but every living organism, from bacteria to humans, which use oxygen, consume oxygen, has developed its own protective mechanism against the toxicity of oxygen, and that's an enzymatic pathway, and SOD is the first line of defense. So whenever our body is in contact, our cells are in contact with oxygen reactive species, free radicals, which will produce SOD, and SOD, as well as catalase, glycoside, will neutralize toxic free radicals. And that's really the magic of SOD, because not only it has strong antioxidant properties, and as a consequence, strong anti-inflammatory properties, but it also has immunomodulating effect, because those internal antioxidants, they work 24/7, as opposed to dietary antioxidants such as vitamins, carotenoids, flavonoids, and so on, minerals, which work only when the levels are replenished by food. But our internal antioxidants, they are always working. So it's great that a product can prime an internal system that will work 24/7. And so what's the link to skin? Well, I mean, you're very aware that most skin diseases are linked to our immune system. I mean, when we first studied GliSODin and SOD, we noticed that not only people had more energy, but they also had clearer skin. So, with further study, we discovered that really there were some photoprotective properties in GliSODin, and that was very early in the development. And anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and modulating your immune system, they are great benefits for your skin. Again, and we have some expertise in the field, for example, of pigmentation disorders, treating melasma, treating vitiligo, and others. We've done a lot of work in those fields. So that's how we came to skin, really through observations of people, and those were benefits that we would find everywhere around the world. I mean, today we work in 50 countries.
Yeah.
So when I talk to Japanese doctors, they tell me, yes, there are some benefits on clear skin, and more energy, great with any other aesthetic or cosmetic or dermatology procedures that you're going to do, because it will amplify the benefits. So that's when we started to dig further into skin and skin applications.
So it's really supporting your own body to be its best. So over time, our systems don't work as effectively
Exactly.
and we
And
get bombarded. So by just living and breathing, we're forming these reactive oxygen species. And then in addition, all of the environmental insults, whether it's UV radiation, which I don't pose sun as the enemy, even living in Arizona where we do get a lot of sun. I think, to your point, a lot of our response to the sun has to do with what we consume and the foods we consume that get imparted into our skin layers, as well as the health of our immune system. And I've seen many people over the years in clinic who have a lot of sun damage, and they have precancers on a regular basis. And all of a sudden, they'll might get cancer, 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 cancer. And I take a step back and I say, well, something else is going inside your body that your body's preoccupied with, that your immune system can't correct these little mutations that are happening all the time. And often I'll find colon cancer or kidney failure or leukemia or lymphoma or something else going on. So by supporting the body's immune system, and I like how you said immunomodulation, because we're not just wanting to like boost the immune system because then we get autoimmune disease. We don't want too weak or too strong. Everything's in perfect balance, right? So that's really, really interesting to me. So I guess I'm curious how how and I know it's hard to make suggestions with supplements, but typically, what are the usual ways that people would take your different supplements? Like, so in front of me here, I have the advanced anti-aging formula, and I'll bounce back and forth between this and then the brightening formula because I tend to get melasma and I'm outside a lot. So if I notice pigmentation, I'll take that for a few months. But when do people usually notice improvement? When should they start each supplement? Like, what do you typically see people do that is gonna be the most benefit for their dollar?
So we really have three products. So it's very simple. We have the pure enzyme. And normally, this pure enzyme, physicians love this product because it's a therapeutic support to whatever they are going to do. It will enhance the benefits. And we have, and maybe another time we'll get into more details with that. We've done great work on vitiligo, for example, um, and in conjunction with UVB and laser work. So that's the I would say that's the more medical grade products. And then we have two other products. And
So
and so
I'm going to cut you off for a second. Sorry. So the enzyme, because I never know what to do with the enzyme. So is the enzyme just for general wellness? Is it for more energy? Like, what do people, I know you can't say what it's for, but what do people notice the most with it? Or who should choose the enzyme versus the other
yes,
options?
usually we use the enzyme for any therapeutic support for dermatologists or
Okay.
physicians. So if you're, for example, in the case of vitiligo, and I'm not going to go again into too much details, but basically one of the options to treat vitiligo is to combine phototherapy
Yes.
and and to so and very briefly in vitiligo, basically melanocytes are damaged by an overreaction of the immune system. That's an autoimmune disease. So as they are damaged, the, those pigment cells will not stick at the level of the epidermis. So so what the product will do, it will not stimulate the production of melanocytes because that's radiation that will do that. But it will modulate the overreaction of the immune system. So it in any situation where you need to modulate, so boost or regulate, it will work. And melasma, same story. Melasma is just the other side of the coin. It's the
Yeah.
same pathway. It's just that your immune system is not as effective as it should be. So, but
Yeah.
so
I'm
that's the more
curious.
medical product. I would not necessarily, encourage people to buy this product unless they have a specific prescription or recommendation, I should say. But basically, what they will notice is clearer skin. They will notice more energy, possibly even less pain, chronic pain.
Mm,
Um, it's a great product if you're into sports, very active sports, because it will enhance your recovery. We have a lot of plastic surgeons who use the product for recovery time post surgery because it will enhance surgery, less downtime, less painkillers, less swelling, better scarring. Um, so
beautiful.
it's really a therapeutic support. It's a tool. It's a therapeutic tool. Um,
Okay.
the anti-aging and the skin brightening are quite self-explanatory. The anti-aging is personally my all-time favorite because it's packed with not only with SOD but with other critical nutrients such as krill oil, very rich in phospholipids, borash oil, and other omega-6. So it's really the most effective when it comes to inflammation. And it's a great product to use along on its own or along rejuvenation treatments. We've shown that in combination with topical retinoids, it can actually double the effectiveness of topical retinoids on skin elasticity, hydration, reduce photo damage, and so on. We even have some surgeons, for example, who will use that product to improve skin texture prior to conducting surgery because the scarring will be much better. So, what you will notice is not only much better results with any of your rejuvenation treatments, but also clearer skin, better skin texture, and this the glow, because your skin will be you know, uh, yes, will be glowing, will be the texture will be better. And so it's great for rejuvenation. It's great if you have rosacea also, any, redness. So that's the anti-aging. And then we have the skin brightening. Skin brightening is, by the way, our best selling product. And it's it's with any pigmentation work, hyperpigmentation, melasma, and it's or if you want to enhance your natural photoprotection, post sun exposure. So and basically it will give you better clear skin, better skin texture. Also, it contains carotenoids such as lycopene. For example, lycopene is will absorb sun rays. It contains also some very rich omega-6, like again borash oil. I love borash oil. It's a great ingredient. And in every one of our products, we always have clinical dosage. You know, so it's really important because you find a lot of products in this market that use a suboptimal dosage, and that's damaging the whole industry, basically. So we always make sure that we use the dosage that is recommended by the ingredient manufacturer. So skin brightening, pigmentation work. Some people will say it's also helping with acne because of its anti-inflammatory properties. We did a study, for example, showing that if you use it in conjunction with laser work for laser, with non-ablative laser for pigmentation work, you will have less transdermal water loss because the laser will generate a lot of water loss, and much fewer pigmentation rebounds post-laser.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
you bring up really good points. I just want to re-emphasize the clinical dosage because a lot of times people will throw out key ingredients and then go shopping for a less expensive product. And the quantity in that product is not sufficient to give the results that the study may have shown. So that's what Francois is saying is basically the the amount of ingredients in here is what is shown in the clinical studies, which unfortunately in the United States also, and I'm sure you're aware of this, supplements aren't regulated at all. So often supplements will have nothing in them or far inadequate amounts than what's mentioned on the label. So I just want everyone to really understand that when it comes to supplements, they're definitely not created equal, and you can't always trust the label unless it's meets certain certifications.
yeah,
So with
absolutely.
acne, you like the brightening because I do have a lot of people with acne. It's interesting because Arizona is very dry. It's a desert. So what I tend to do and have my patients do is use the brightening more in the summer months when we're just exposed to so much sun. And then in the winter, when it gets even more dry, we'll revolve to the anti-aging just to
Yeah.
increase the suppleness. Like my skin is pretty glowing, for 54 years old. I think it's pretty good and it has a lot to do with the moisture and the fats, the healthy fats in the skin, right? That we're getting from the phospholipids and, um, you know, other things.
Uh, Absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. That's a good balance to use the skin brightening during summer, or if you're going to undergo pigmentation work on your skin, and the winter months, the anti-aging because it's so rich. And by the way, phospholipids, which I love krill oil. It contains 5 to 7 times more phospholipids than fish oil.
Mhm.
Not only it's benefiting your skin, but it's also benefiting your heart. It's
And your
benefiting a
brain.
lot
Yeah,
your brain,
and
a
your
lot of
brain.
other organs. So, and sometimes I have people who tell me it's strange because since I've been taking your products, not only do people comment about the glow of my skin, which I've never had before with all the cosmetics I've taken, I've never had anybody telling me about the glow of my skin, which I find that very interesting, which shows that you have to use both topical and oral products. But they tell me that their mind is sharper, that they think faster, their quality of skin is better. Like they don't sleep longer, maybe even sleep a little less, but they are sharp when they wake up. So, and all those benefits, we don't really know the mechanic you know, the mechanism of action behind all that. One day, possibly, we'll find
Mhm.
out. But it's really benefiting the overall the whole body, not
Yeah.
only.
Healthy phospholipids are gonna help nerves transmit more effectively anyway, and I really think that a healthy brain is everything because it allows you to be in a good mood, have good communication and good relationships, get motivated to, do many things in life, and I I really divert to the brain often, and having a healthy gut is also going to
Yeah,
help with the brain. So I did wanna touch on the gliadin. If someone is celiac or
yeah,
sensitive to gluten, is this product gonna be an
yeah.
issue?
So, yes, gliadin is it's a question that we have often. Clearly, we will not recommend a product to celiac patients, clearly. But people who are intolerant, I don't think that would be a big issue. We've sold this. I think since the launch of the product, we've sold over I think 300 million daily dosage of the products,
Wow.
and mostly under medical recommendation. So um, if we had some serious allergies reaction, we would know. And basically, so the gliadin fraction is the content is under the threshold level for celiac patients. So in a one daily dosage of GliSODin, it's 30 milligram of gliadin of gluten, while the threshold level for celiac patients is 50 milligram per day. So even there, we are below the level. So if you can actually eat a slice of bread, it's not going to be an issue. It's much less than a slice of bread.
Mhm.
Really. And I would add that in France, we can't use genetically modified botanical extract. We don't use glyphosates. Our product are very strictly controlled when it comes to pesticides and so on. So no, it's really a non-issue, if I may say.
Yeah, I have never seen a problem. I think, a lot of people in America will talk about how they can eat the bread in France and it's not an issue, but when they come to in America, it's an issue. And it's not so much the gluten, it's more all the genetically modified and the chemicals that we're adding to our wheat, unfortunately. But I don't recommend it to true celiac patients, but gluten
No,
intolerance patients, I've never even had anyone had an issue, and I'm one of them, and I have 0 issues. I would know it. So,
yeah.
okay, well, this is great. I guess the next question is, first of all, did I not ask anything that you want to cover before we give people information on how they can find you, how they can order it, how they can see more studies? Because this is such a scientifically backed product. I really do support it.
No, no, I mean they can access our information on glycodin.com. And they for those who are motivated and want to dive into hard science, we have a website where we list all our research. It's on glycodin.org. And you'll see that we have over 40 published scientific and clinical studies from 10 different countries. So it's not a product that's just been studied in France, in a little lab. It's been it's been studied in major countries, including, of course, the US and in Canada. So yes, they will find videos. They will find many different tools that if they are interested. But I think we covered most of the benefits of the product, and yeah,
Great. Thank you, Francois. We'll have those links in the show notes and on the YouTube channel. And Um, I just want people to understand this isn't we live in this world of biohacking and new products coming and getting really hot and then going out, and this has been around for decades. So there's a reason why it's persisted. Sometimes the the things that are the most sexy just come and go really fast, and the things that persist are the ones you really want to invest in because you're investing in a lifetime of health and beauty, and that's what we want for you. Thank you.
exactly. Thank
Appreciate
you
you so much.
for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.
A pleasure.
If you're enjoying the Radiance Revealed podcast, please don't forget to subscribe so you'll always know when there's a new episode. And while you're at it, please give us a review, as that helps others to find this podcast. And if you want to connect with me, please visit my website, drjenhaley.com, or you can find me on Instagram at drjenhaley.
Hello, everyone. Just a friendly reminder that this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. The statements and views expressed on this podcast are not medical advice. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility made for statements made by guests. Neither this podcast nor any of the information contained within it are a substitute for care by a qualified medical professional. This podcast is provided with the understanding that it does not constitute medical or professional advice or services. If you are looking for help in your journey, please seek out a qualified medical practitioner.